So when you have a cabochon, depending on the style, you're going to have kind of a different height needed for your bezel wire. And our bezel wire comes in different heights from the store. If you're lucky, it will just fit. But what your goal is to catch right where your stone is kind of starting to curve up with the very end of your bezel wire. So if you need to trim this, a good way to do it is to use dividers. We have 2 of these that live in the tray next to our turn-in tray. The looser, or the more you twist this, the looser they go, and then you turn it the other way and they go a little tighter. What you want to do is I'm going to zoom in a little, you want to get that height, and actually I think I landed right on there, of the bottom of my stone to the top edge of where it's starting to curve in. Some of them will start curving in immediately, so you're going to have like a really short bezel. And then what you'll do is check this against your bezel. I actually think I'm literally perfect, but I'll show you as if I was going shorter for a different stone. I would be one of the lucky few where this would just fit, and I could just measure the length from our packet and then trim it down for the circumference around my stone. But let's pretend for a second that I've got a shorter cabochon. I just am lucky that I grabbed that one. And I need to trim down my wire, because sawing this, as you know, would be a pain in the butt. So if I went a little bit shorter, what I did is I just tightened this up, so now it's for maybe a shorter stone. If I had a different one, the way dividers work that is so awesome is you can line them up on the edge of your metal and then really slowly drag them down, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's scraping a line. And then I'm just going to trim this because this is way more length than I actually need. And then now I've got a scraped in line in the middle of this where I can trim this. And it does tend to curl a little bit. You can always just uncurl it if that happens. Use our shears, which are also in the cup. A lot of the things that are in the cup by our turn-in tray are kind of specific for you with this project. You could definitely saw this if you prefer, but I haven't yet to meet someone who prefers that. And then you trim that down, and I usually do more than I need, kind of like what I have here, because then I've got extra if I measure my circumference and I go too short. But for the sake of time, you can kind of see now how I've got shorter wire. I would want to check against the stone since these aren't the same and make sure I have whichever one I need. And then in that instance, if I was wrapping it around a smaller stone, I've got the height that I need now without like sanding this or sawing it. So that would be your best way to adjust it based on the bezel wire and the cabochon that you pick.